Yeah, let's go, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, here we go, buddy.
I want to ride some.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bad Ideas Garage. My name is Steven, and as you can tell, this audio has absolutely nothing to do with the video that's going on in this video because I forgot to turn on my microphone while I filmed this entire thing. And I was a little bit of a rush because I thought, hey, it'd be a really good idea to bring my family along to film this 1992 Dodge B350 ambulance. And that really didn't work out that well. So as my wife is laughing in the background, yes, it's because we're trying to run after our kids while I'm trying to film this at the same time. But the reason why I'm making this video is not about me. It is about the Oregon Fire Service Museum up at Powerland Heritage Park, just one exit north of Salem. They have an upcoming Father's Day event. I will put a link in the description below. Please go to that. And also, this apparatus is for sale. And so I'm making this video to show off the apparatus as well. If you'd like to buy an ambulance for yourself, well, you could have this and I don't know, maybe overland it, maybe camp in it, who knows? It's really cool. And so instead in this video, you're going to see some really cute videos of my kids climbing up and around this particular apparatus. And again, if you're interested in this, just send me an email. I actually became a board member with the donation of the Engine 51 and the Squad 51. I'll put those links in the description below. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my wonderful and very beautiful wife who let me become a board member of the Oregon Fire Service Museum and also helps me just with a whole bunch of stuff with all the crazy things at the Bad Ideas Garage. So at this point, this is where I start talking about all the features of this particular fire apparatus or vehicle that I'm reviewing, and this one is a 1992, and it was donated to us by the Blodgett Summit Rural Fire Protection District, and believe it or not, this only has 9,000 miles on it, and it's been sitting since about 2016. It was donated to the museum because they were no longer using it, and we've been selling fire apparatus to raise money for the phase 2 of our building project. And so here's a video of Eric, who's one of our other board members, who cleaned it up, and they actually drove it right here. They just needed to jump start it, and the Dodge drove great. And as you'll see later in the video, I also had a chance to drive the Dodge, and I can attest that it drove really well also. I was actually surprised at how easy it was to drive, despite the fact that this is a massive vehicle. So you might notice on the side of this vehicle, it says it's a rescue, and I might refer to this as a rescue as well, even though it looks like an ambulance. If you don't know the difference between a rescue and an ambulance, a rescue doesn't transport patients to medical facilities. It's designed really to respond to emergencies in the moment. And so it has all of the equipment necessary to give basic medical support in the moment, but it doesn't actually transport anyone to a hospital. So a couple of things about this particular apparatus, besides my really cute kids that were in it and loved that red interior, is that it is a Dodge 5.9 liter V8. It has rear-wheel drive, and it's built on a commercial chassis that was used primarily for commercial applications, including ambulance work, etc. They also made what they called a wagon version of it that was made for people who wanted to have a large full-size van for their family, but this is definitely the commercial version. The cool thing about this is that it's set up in the back with all sorts of electronics that could be very easily used for something like overlanding, or if you wanted to run a commercial kitchen out of the back. I really think that you could, is because of all of the wiring that is already set up for that in the back. You can tell that this interior is in really good condition. All of the emergency equipment that's with this is all included, and you can see that, for example, this main cutoff switch, which is normal on fire apparatus, is there. It's all included, it's ready to go, etc. This cabin looks very typical for 1990s Chrysler products. We have a Squad 51 that we're selling as well that looks almost identical in the interior, but if you look at everything else that's in here, it just looks very, very sharp and very a time capsule because it only has 9,000 miles on it and it really wasn't used that much. Let's go ahead and head to the engine bay where we can point out a couple of things of this 5.9 liter engine. There really isn't too much to report up here besides the fact that whoever purchases this definitely needs to get new batteries. This is wired specifically to have double batteries, and the ones that are in here are extremely old. Almost everything in here in terms of filters and spark plugs, etc., all needs to get replaced by the new owner because, again, it's been sitting for a while. And unfortunately, at this point, I had to kick my kids out because I needed to take this on a short drive just to make sure that I understood about how to describe this for when I'm going to be selling it. So like many fire apparatus, there's a main switch that I need to turn on, and that connects the battery. And of course, I went to start it and nothing actually happened. Well, that's because the batteries needed to be jumped, but I wanted to see what would happen just with the charge that was in there, and it was only about 10 volts. After I put my charger on it, it fired right up. There was very little hesitation. It cranked just a couple of times, and it sounded really good. At this point, I wanted to look to see exactly what was working and what wasn't. Good thing we had nice oil pressure, the alternator was functioning, and then I started to look at some very typical Chrysler stuff from the era, including this lovely overdrive button and all of the creature comforts, including the power windows, the power door locks, and the horn. Well, the horn didn't actually work because it's tied into the horn system of the ambulance, and so, of course, that didn't work. I did not have a chance to check out the cruise control, but I'm sure that that worked just fine as well. Some of the controls over here in the center console, again, these are all going to be included as a part of the sale. They all work. Funny thing is that my son accidentally pressed the high idle button, and I was wondering why the heck is idling so high. Well, I turned that off, and sure enough, it went back to where it needed to be. All sorts of the equipment that's here, I have absolutely no idea what it is because I'm horribly unqualified to be a part of this video or describe what any of this is, but at least my kids thought that it was really awesome. Of course, what they loved the most is all of the lights and sirens working. The siren really didn't work as strong as I would have hoped. I have actually some audio of that a little bit later. My job was to look to see if there are any egregious leaks in the engine bay, and everything looked really good, which makes perfect sense because of how well that it runs. The rest of the interior is in excellent condition, and there's just so much that you can do in this back space. I'm really excited to see what the next owner ends up doing with it. Here are a couple of systems for the patient codes that you could communicate between the driver and the medic in the back. Again, I have really no idea what any of this does, but it seems to all work both in the back and up here in the front. It does maybe need to be cleaned up a little bit, but again, everything seems to be working just fine. A couple things that I noted just before I started driving is that the anti-lock brake and the emergency brake light, both of them were on and illuminated, and I think that has something to do with low voltage in the entire system. One other point of note is that the air conditioning, it actually works, and I was really surprised with that. Initially, some of the controls seemed like they might have been stuck, but once we got going a little bit, it actually was really cool. And then also, sadly, the 1990s Chrysler corporate stereo did not work, which is very sad, and I'm sure that everyone is upset by that. All right, let's play with a couple of these controls here. So I turn this on. That doesn't sound very good. Okay, that really does not sound very good. Okay. I'm sure at this point I had a couple of quippy things to say about the way that the car felt in terms of the driving position, but then I got interrupted by my son, and I had my lovely wife hold on to him while I went on a 5-minute drive, and here's a video of that. And thankfully this time the audio worked. All right, we're going to go and take this for a drive. I can tell you this thing runs really well, and that AC, that's cold. It's cold AC. Okay. Brake light is still on. I have good brake pressure though. I mean, these batteries definitely need to be replaced. I can tell you that. Good oil pressure. I mean, this thing is huge. And there are a couple of bends that I don't want to hit on the way out. All right. I'm on the road. Here we go. Sounds something rattling back there. Honestly, this sounds kind of like the Squad 51 that we sold or are selling, almost sold. I think that this is the bigger engine, so this is the 5.9, or in Mopar terms, the 360. It runs really nicely. I'm gonna do a brake test. The brakes work. This doesn't feel nearly as big as it probably is. This is the long wheelbase. It's the Dodge Ram van. They had one that was listed as a van, one that was listed as a wagon, and I don't know, It's very normal, I guess, for driving around in a very heavy vehicle. A Chrysler product from the early 90s. Everything in here looks very corporate and very Chrysler. But again, only 9,000 miles on this. And yeah, the odometer is moving. Okay, I'm about to go down a hill and I want to make sure that the brakes are working. That's good. But yeah, I'm cruising around a little neighborhood here. It's actually surprisingly easy to drive. I don't know, I guess what I was expecting because it is so big, but it feels very manageable. The suspension's very smooth. I'm actually surprised. This steering is actually really, really easy. This went by a big truck the other way. I didn't feel like I was out of control or anything. I don't know. I think I was expecting more of like the 1970s American car feel where you have such vague steering. Maybe that's what I was maybe expecting. I don't know. Just gonna do a little bit of a U-turn here. Okay, give it some juice up the hill. Oh, that's flooring. Okay. I thought I don't know. This has a carburetor, and I thought that I might feel like, you know, the secondary kicks in or whatever. Nope, that was it. That was flooring it. I am going up a hill, and I'm going around some turns. I thought I would get a little bit more oomph. No, not at all. I can't test the cruise control. Definitely not where I am right now. But I gotta say, 9,000 miles. Pretty happy with that. I'm driving back right now just in case, especially because it's beach day with the family today, and I want to get going to that. You know, my kids absolutely love this. But I don't know, I think that somebody could use this for like overlanding, maybe. I mean, this thing is huge, and the way that it's set up actually, I think it would be really good for overlanding. So I'm hoping that someone's going to buy it for that purpose. So let's see, get it back in. The brakes are still working. Okay. There we go. No nonsense. Very easy. My kid's very excited that I'm back, and we are going to go to the beach. The beach. So that's the video on this 1992 Dodge ambulance that was donated to the Oregon Fire Service Museum. Thanks to the Blodgett Summit Rural Fire Protection District for donating it to this museum. And again, if you are interested, just send me an email with my contact information that's in the description below, and we'll make sure and get you in touch with everyone at the museum to make this sale possible. There's a lot of really cool things that could be done with this particular ambulance because it's the long wheelbase and because a lot of the wiring and plumbing are already in the back. And we've already received a couple of really cool inquiries for some businesses and maybe some restaurants that want to do some really awesome things with it. So as always, please like and subscribe to our videos. We have a couple of awesome additional apparatus that we're going to be helping sell on behalf of the museum, again, for that building project that's coming up, including this square body 1986 diesel Chevy brush rig that had a tree fall on it. So I'll be doing a little bit of restoration work on that. And then I'm working on a 2003 Honda Pilot that I'm going to be putting into the Gambler 500 this summer, 2023. So as always, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and we'll catch you later.